Today, I'll be talking about how all of this is a virtual reality brought to you by the body-mind. You know the virtual reality machines they have today. They're very primitive, but you can have fun with them and pretend that all the stuff you see in your mask is actually happening. Now, in a generation, the quality will certainly step up from that. And what you may see is a virtual reality that is utterly convincing and that is enjoyable and maybe even preferable to the reality that you're living in now. You can imagine that. And you could imagine that if they were to create a virtual reality, how much more pleasant your life might be. You see? And that could be great for a while. But after a year or two, you might get bored with it because everything keeps going well and your relationships are great and all the sensations are pleasurable. You might want some variety after a while. And so that would be when you stepped out of the Garden of Eden and were willing to experience the whole gamut of life, all the different things. And it wouldn't matter what happened because none of it was real anyway, right? So if things went poorly, if there was pain, if there was difficulty, it just made it more interesting, you see? What does the mind tell you? The mind creates thoughts, you see? In those thoughts there are sensations, there are feelings, there's pleasure, there's pain, there's tastes, there's smells. This is a pretty decent virtual reality, and you would expect it to be because it was created by God. And in order to make the virtual reality really work, God gave you a little bit of amnesia, so you wouldn't remember what you were before you were born. You see? And that would enhance the effects of the virtual reality. You see? And then you would go on. The mind would tell you, oh, this is who you are. This is what you think. This is what you did. This was good. This was bad. This I like. This I don't. And it goes on. It becomes a wonderful, amazing virtual reality. Really with all the special effects that you would expect from God's creation. Yeah, it's true. It's true. None of this is real. This is all a creation of the mind. The mind was designed to create this world for your pleasure, which could include displeasure, but for your enjoyment, for your experience, you see, which wouldn't be possible in the real world, because in the real world, everything just is. In the virtual world, there are things that are and things that aren't. There are things that are this and things that are that. There are things that are good and bad, and you go through the whole gamut of the life's experience, which you consider your life. 20,000 years ago, there was another being, and that being believed in things you've never even heard of, believed just as strongly as you do in the things that are going on in your life. That being believed that he or she was important. that what was going on meant something, that he was experiencing life, his life. Well, his life is dust now. There's not even a remnant of his society left. None of his beliefs have even survived. The things that he held dear, they are no more. The things that he would die for don't matter, because they never did. You have your life, and you think you're important, and you think what you believe is correct. And you move through your life as if it meant something. Yes, after you die, some people will remember you for some time. But in the vast majority of cases, in less than 100 years, no one will remember you. You might be in a scrapbook somewhere. I remember going through, I used to collect old books. I remember going through a bookstore with a friend, and there was this biography of the Secretary of the Treasury back at the turn of the last century. And you could just see in the picture how proud the guy was. And I just pointed to the guy, to my friend, and I said, look at him. He was so important. He was so important in his time. And now, nobody knows who he was. You see? This is how illusions work. They do not hold on to their reality. After time, it dissipates. You see? The true reality is not something that the mind is going to teach you about, because the mind is here to create the illusion of reality, of virtual reality. That's what it's designed for. If you can see the virtual reality, though, for what it is, just virtual, just make-believe, then you may be lucky and be able to realize the true reality, which is that which always is, and that which never changes. Here, everything is always in flux. Everything is in movement. Everything is changing. But behind it all, everything just is. There is a stillness, but it's prior to thought, prior to feeling, prior to movement. It's there. It's there to be known, but the mind must be still, because the movement distracts you and veils you from what is. So we're in this state of forgetfulness, where you don't remember who you are. That's so you can enjoy the play. And by enjoy, I don't mean pleasure. I mean all of it. You enjoy the pain, you enjoy the difficulty, you enjoy whatever is presented. There is a stillness, and you want to remember that. So Ramesh described it like this. He said, the little child, very young, the mother takes it to the playground to play with the other children, and the child holds on to its mother's skirt and then walks away and goes and plays with the other children. But the child always has one eye on the mother. The child never loses track of the mother. It goes and plays with the other children, but it never forgets. You see? So you want to remember that essence of who you are through all the movements of life. You never forget. You always, always remember that stillness, that oneness that you are. You remember your mother. You remember God. So, this is the beginning of what I wanted to say about the virtual reality. There are many different examples that I'll go through later of what it is to have a situation where you are not what you seem to be. And you can accept this on faith, and it may bring some peace to you. Understand that even if you fully know that you are not this body-mind, that you are not a person, even if you fully know that, you still go through the motions of life. You still do what you think you should do. You still act the way you were designed to act. You do all of that, you see? It's not like all of a sudden you can just do anything because you know it's not real. You still behave in the way that, keeps your life comfortable as possible. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So, but still you always remember that which you are. And I could get a feeling for what that was because I had hung out with my gurus, and I could feel that presence, that just sense of being that was beyond words. The problem with this whole seeking thing is that the one who is seeking is the one who doesn't know. Now, you can imagine an illusion will never get to the truth. Bugs Bunny is never going to know what it is like for the people who are watching him. No matter how hard he tries, he's a cartoon. And he is very limited in what he can know. And this is how it is for you. What you can know here is limited to the design of the body-mind. You see, it won't be able to go to that place where everything is one. Even though you came from that place, and you're imagining that you're someone or something now. That's just what you're imagining. What's so is that the essence of everything is, in fact, the essence of you, and the essence of everyone, and the essence of everything. And that's all one, you see. All one. If you can feel what it is that I'm saying, that's it, you see? If you can feel it. But as soon as your mind touches it, that's no longer it. Now the mind has dragged it in to a concept, an idea, which is part of the illusion, you see. Even illusion is part of the illusion. All of it is just in the dream world, which eventually you'll wake up from. And then the amnesia pill that you took to be in this life will wear off. And you'll remember, and you'll join back with that oneness that you always were. But you had a little vacation, a little pretend make-believe journey into a lifetime, which had a name and had certain events, and some were great and some were poor, some were difficult and some were easy, some were pleasurable and some were not. So see if you can keep your perspective in this dream and try and be in a place of constant remembrance of who, or rather what, you are. I hope this helps. Until next time, Sagarnath Maharaj Ki Jai.